Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso, the IRS cracking down on tax fraud in the borderland. The message they have for dishonest tax preparers.
Breaking overnight, new details showing what happened to the doomed Germanwings flight, what the co-pilot did right before it crashed.
And Christians around the world are reflecting on their faith before Easter Sunday today, Good Friday.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Good morning. It is Good Friday. Let's go live to Mount Cristo Rey this morning.
Thousands will gather this Good Friday for the 2.5-mile pilgrimage up the mountain. The gates just opened at 6 a.m. just about a minute ago, and they will close at 2 this afternoon.
And if you're heading out for the hike, remember, no pets are allowed. But the big question is, how windy will it be up there on the mountain?
Of course, and that is going to be a factor today, folks. Good morning to you, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Stephanie Valle.
And I'm Hillary Floren. Good morning, everyone. Let's get right to Crystal Cly and talk about the severity of those winds, because we've been experiencing them the past few days.
We really have. We were under that first alert yesterday for good reason. Just as forecast, we saw those gusts move into the 40s. Today, good news for your Good Friday. Wind gusts are going to remain lower. Our temperatures right now, we are at 66 currently in El Paso. That temperature of 66 is accompanied with winds that are just sitting right around 10 miles per hour. So we're not dealing with too high of wind conditions out there to start. If you will be hiking Mount Cristo Rey this morning, you should be in for a very nice trek up that mountain. In Las Cruces, we're at 50 degrees now, a mix of clouds and some clearing sky conditions this morning, and that's what we're going to be dealing with, partly cloudy to mostly clear sky conditions. Your winds just 7 miles per hour out of the west. Winds today, as we mentioned, not a big issue, looking breezy through the afternoon, but tonight, that's a different story. We'll talk about how higher wind gusts start to go this evening coming up.
All right, thanks, Crystal. Well, today, of course, is Good Friday, as we mentioned, and that means that there are some closures around town. UTEP, NMSU, and EPCC will not have classes today. El Paso County and city offices are closed. El Paso ISD, Isleta, Cañetillo, Clint, Las Cruces, and the Gadsden school districts are also closed. And as for the Fabens district, today will be a half day, and you will have next Monday off. One thing not affected today is trash pickup. Both El Paso and Las Cruces trash collections will remain on the normal schedule. Well, breaking news overnight in the Germanwings crash.
Investigators now saying the co-pilot of the doomed flight repeatedly sped up the plane as he used the automatic pilot to descend. Yesterday, they found one of the plane's black boxes and the co-pilot's tablet computer. Prosecutors say Andreas Lubitz shows he researched suicide methods and cockpit door security in the week before the crash. Andreas Lubitz is accused of locking the pilot out of the cockpit and intentionally crashing the plane. As for the passengers on board, investigators have found 150 unique DNA samples, which they hope to link to every victim. After a horrific massacre by al-Shabaab militants, students and staff are leaving the campus of Garissa University in Kenya. 147 people are dead, 79 left wounded. Police there have posted a $220,000 bounty for the man they believe was the mastermind behind the attack. Survivors say the gunman singled out Christian students and then gunned them down without mercy. The men were holed up with hostages for about 13 hours. 4 militants were killed by security forces.
The owner of an East El Paso tax business is behind bars this morning, arrested by IRS agents. She's identified as 60-year-old Belia Mendoza, the owner of Mendez Tax Service. Prosecutors say 3 of her employees filed false information so that people could qualify for bigger tax refunds after filing their federal tax returns. The employees are identified as Margarita Hernandez, Denise Duchesne, and Ana Montez. We went to the location at the business on Sumatra by Album Park. There we found a new business already operating, Mendez and Mendez Tax Service. It's owned by Mendoza's son and daughter. Robert Mendez was not named in the alleged scheme. The IRS issued a statement on the arrest. It says dishonest tax return preparers should be on notice as the agency is watching their activities closely. We are learning more in other news about the man and woman found dead in a murder-suicide that happened Wednesday. They were a husband and wife living on the 14,000 block of Sandy Rock on the Far East Side. Police say the man killed his wife and then himself. Investigators identified the couple as 58-year-old Jose Olivas and his wife, 47-year-old Cecilia Olivas. Neighbors told us the couple had only been living in that neighborhood for about 6 months.
A 20-year-old soldier from El Paso is not only accused of dating a 14-year-old girl, he's also accused of stabbing and killing the girl's mother. This is Army Specialist Caleb Barnes' profile picture on Twitter. He's stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland, and was on leave when the murder happened in Pennsylvania. According to police, 14-year-old Jamie Silvaniak planned her mother's murder with the soldier and allegedly texted him, quote, "I want her gone." Police say Barnes stabbed the girl's mother in the neck. The girl will be tried as an adult. A breakthrough agreement with Iran this morning. After 8 days of marathon talks in Switzerland and years of negotiations, Tehran has agreed to heavy nuclear supervision in exchange for a break in tough economic sanctions. ABC's Susan Solney has the latest from Washington.
Unusual sights on the streets of the Iranian capital Tehran overnight. Joy. The people celebrating a framework nuclear agreement reached between their country and 6 world powers, including the U.S. In Switzerland, negotiators worked marathon sessions with Secretary of State John Kerry. Now, a sense of relief.
This is the safest, best way to make the world safer by reducing the ability of Iran to be able to have a nuclear weapon.
So how does the U.S. benefit under the terms? The breakout time, how long it would take Iran to build one bomb, is increased from 2 to 3 months now to a year. Major Iranian nuclear sites will be redesigned for civilian purposes only. And a strict regime of monitoring and inspection will last for at least 20 years. And what does Iran get? Sanctions relief, phased in over time. Also, Iran will still be able to research and develop advanced nuclear technology and keep making non-weapons grade uranium. Critics in Congress are eager to kill the deal.
This deal is going to threaten America's national security interests.
President Obama sharply disagrees.
I am confident that we can show that this deal is good for the security of the United States, for our allies, and for the world.
This deal is merely a framework. It has to be transformed into a concrete plan over the next 3 months, or it could fall apart. Susan Solney, ABC News, Washington.
New today, a local high school senior has a major decision ahead of her. Which of the 7 Ivy League schools that she's been accepted to should she attend? Good morning, El Paso's Denise Olivas is live with more on her pretty impressive story, right, Denise?
Yeah, to say the least, Hillary. It's no surprise that 18-year-old Patricia Rodarte of Riverside High School sits at the top of her class. And as graduation approaches, the decision is likely not getting any easier. Rodarte has applied to 15 universities, and she recently was awarded a $20,000 scholarship from Coca-Cola. She's also making history for the Isleta School District. This is the first time in recent history a YSD student has been accepted to this many Ivy League schools. And here is the list: Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Princeton, Brown, Cornell, as well as Dartmouth College.
I think my top choices right now are Harvard, Stanford, or Brown and Rice here in Texas. Ultimately, I want to engage in medicine. So in college, I want to major in either microbiology or cellular and molecular biology.
And Rodarte says that she comes from a family with very hardworking parents who never attended college, but have instilled the importance of a college education. And as a former Riverside Ranger myself, I couldn't tell you how proud I am of this young lady, and I'm sure the entire community is as well. Back to you, Stephanie.
I was just about to bring that up, Denise. I'm sure you're very proud of that Riverside soon-to-be alum.
Definitely. It's great to see just, what high school education, teachers, and I'm sure it takes a lot of people to make these students so successful. So it's really good to hear that she has plenty of choices.
Exactly. All right, some pride in the Valley. Thank you, Denise.
And big expectations too,
Exactly.
right? Well, let's take a live look at traffic right now. It is 9 minutes after 6.
Looking at I-10 in East Lake, now I-10 in Americas in Far East El Paso, both those cameras. No problems to report. Traffic moving along. Pretty light out there.
Yeah, looks good. Well, next week we've been talking about this opening day for the El Paso Chihuahuas already.
Can you believe it? And the fans will see some major changes at the ballpark this season. We'll tell you what you can expect.
Also, a dramatic rescue of a sailor who was lost at sea for 66 days. How he managed to survive all that time at sea and how he's reunited now with his family.
But first, what can you expect this Easter weekend in terms of the weather? Crystal Cly has your forecast.
And the forecast looks pretty good aside from those windy conditions. We'll talk about that and take a peek at your future truck model after the break.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.